Hello there. I've got to tell ya, I enjoyed myself when I went and saw this movie. I brought the whole family, my son, my daughter, and my wife, and we had a great time. But afterwards, something kept bothering me, and it didn't take me long to realize. This movie's a dumpster fire. And not only a dumpster fire, but a dumpster fire with a clown standing in front of it, telling bad jokes. And let me tell you how I came to this conclusion. Let me tell you the story of two young up-and-coming filmmakers that the studios decided to take a chance on. They were both tasked with taking a comic book character and reshaping their public image. And both filmmakers did, to great success. And because of that success, and the respect earned when you make a really great film, these directors were given complete control of the sequels to their movies. And it turns out that feedback is important. Both directors turned their personalities up to 11 and poured them into the movie to not so great results. And while Tim Burton went super dark, having Batman kill a few people, Taika Waititi went ridiculous and turned Thor into a Roadrunner cartoon. When we first meet Thor in the MCU, he's arrogant and selfish, but a seasoned warrior. And through his time on Earth, especially his dealings with Jane Foster and the Avengers, Thor begins to care more for the beings around him. And by hanging out with people like Tony Stark, Thor begins to lose some of his Asgardian nature and begins to loosen up and even crack jokes from time to time. The progression of Thor's character is a direct result of the adventures that we get to see him go through. So when we get to Thor Ragnarok, it kind of makes sense that he has a new lighthearted, jokey style. Then all his friends and family are killed, and half of his people, so he goes back to being a hardened, serious warrior. But then Marvel had a problem, because Thanos wasn't going to be much of a threat in Endgame, when we've already seen Thor do this. So Marvel took Thor to a natural progression that we didn't expect. They took all the loss and failure that Thor experienced and made it break him. A lot of people said that making Thor fat was a joke, and they made the whole character a joke. But Fat Thor isn't funny, it's sad. But by the end of Endgame, Thor had redeemed himself, gotten his mojo back, and was well on his way to being the badass Thor that we all know and love. And then they make Love and Thunder, and give us whoever this guy is. Because this isn't Thor, this guy's a moron. Shazam is smarter than this man, and he's literally a 10-year-old boy. It's like they took Stifler from the American Pie movies and gave him Thor's powers. Thor from the first movie may have been arrogant and selfish, but he wasn't stupid. This Thor is a cartoon character. First he rides Stormbreaker like he's the Wicked Witch of the West. Then he destroys the temple that he's supposed to be liberating. And his response is, oops. Then there are his attachment issues to the Guardians of the Galaxy, topped off with the ridiculous 7th grade handshake that he does with Star-Lord. Even the Guardians of the Galaxy realize that Thor is a joke. Then there's the ridiculous gold outfit that he makes because he's jealous of the new Lady Thor. Speaking of Lady Thor, Male Thor has a weird four-way love triangle. Or is that just a love square? Between himself, Jane Foster, Mjolnir, and Stormbreaker. It's a really weird situation. And Thor treats the hammer and the axe as if they're women. And he's in love with both of them. And then there's the inspirational speeches. Thor tries to inspire both the Asgardian people and the captured Asgardian children, but comes off like a drunk uncle trying to teach sexual education to his niece and nephew. We've seen Thor in the MCU give inspirational and touching speeches. In Thor Love and Thunder, Thor's speeches are just another example of what a joke this character has become. And then, to show that there's no limits to the indignity that they'll put the Thor character through, they strip him naked in front of a crowd of people. And I can't help but think two things. One, if this was a woman, this would be sexual assault. And two, where did this guy go? When we last saw Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy, they were leaving Earth to go on adventures. And these adventures were the only thing I was looking forward to in the Marvel Universe after Endgame. But because of real-world ridiculousness, we didn't get a Thor and Guardians movie. Instead, we got a quick montage at the beginning of Love and Thunder. Then we got a Looney Tunes style battle, where Thor beats all the enemies, and the Guardians hide behind rocks. And then that's it. Thor leaves the Guardians. And all I wanted was an Asgardians of the Galaxy movie. So Valkyrie becomes queen, because she can't be a king. A king is a male monarch, and a queen is a female monarch. So Valkyrie becomes queen. And she takes the people of Asgard, who used to live in a golden city, and turns their home into an amusement park. New Asgard is now a tourist attraction, equipped with monuments, rides, and genocide-themed ice cream stores. Taika Waititi and Valkyrie making a joke out of the Asgardian people. Many of the scenes in Thor Love and Thunder are acted and filmed more like a parody than scenes in an actual movie. Come to think of it, this whole movie seemed like one big parody. And I thought the best way I could demonstrate this was by taking a few pictures from parodies of Thor and taking a couple pictures from Thor Love and Thunder, and to see if you can figure out which ones are from the movie. It's distracting when you're watching a big blockbuster movie, and some of the scenes in it looks like a YouTuber made them. For the love of God, Taika Waititi, stop talking about orgies in superhero movies. First there was the Grand Master in Thor Ragnarok and his orgy spaceship. And now there's Zeus, who can't wait for Thor to go away so he can plan his next orgy. Taika, there are children watching this movie. Hell, there are children in this movie. I shouldn't have to give my kids a sexual education class just because we watched a Thor movie. Christian Bale is good as always, only the character of Gore is underused. We only get to see him butcher one god, and Gore's personality switches back and forth, from stern villain to creepy gargoyle. The Jane Foster as Thor was alright. The reason they gave for her being able to pick up the hammer was serviceable. And the story arc worked for the most part. Although her cancer was mostly a plot device and often played for laughs, which was a little disturbing. And I could have done without the reoccurring joke of her catchphrase. It wasn't funny the first time, and it got really annoying. And the action was fine, but nothing we haven't seen before. Like I said before, this movie is a parody of a Thor movie, and just made Thor into a joke. The storytelling's bad. It seems like a 7th grader wrote the screenplay, and the action is mediocre. But if you have kids under the age of 10, they're gonna love it.